Hello everybody, Steve Putnam with you here today, and I've got someone who's sitting on my couch, and if I'm not mistaken, he's never been on my couch before. So I'm very excited to have our first guest on the show today and introduce him to you. So let's swing the camera around and introduce you to Mr. Brent Begley. I got the name right. He's from McIntyre Elder Law Firm right here in Shelby. Glad to have you on our show.
Glad to be here.
Now I understand you're an attorney.
I am, yeah.
And we won't hold that against you. I love doing that to all my attorney friends. Now I got to ask you this: how long have you been with them? Tell me what led you to being an attorney?
Sure, yeah. So I'm with McIntyre Elder Law, and we have locations here in Shelby. We also have an office in Charlotte and an office in Hendersonville. I've been with Greg McIntyre, the founder of the firm, for about 5 years. And the reason why I wanted to become an attorney is because I wanted to make a difference in the world, and that's the answer you're always going to hear from an attorney. But I really did, right? And I started off, doing a bunch of different types of law, and really wanted to find meaning in the type of law that I was practicing, and didn't find that meaning until I started doing elder law.
Cool. And that's not a bad thing to say. I was about to say, you say, well, everybody probably says that. Well, that's still a good thing to say. I mean, if we all started out wanting to make a difference in what we do, things would probably be a lot better than they are. So that's really cool that you've done that. Now, you look really young. This is awesome. You got, how long does it take when one starts from start to finish? How long does it take one to become an attorney?
Well, I first want to shout out to the moisturizing company that I use, because I'm actually a little bit older than I look. Lots of exercise too. How long does it take to become an attorney? Well, you got to make it through, high school, college, that sort of thing. Then you got 3 years for law school. I did an extra year to get a master's degree in tax law. And then you take the bar, which you study for that for 3 months, and hopefully you pass it the first time. And so that's how long it takes you to be an attorney. And once you get your law license, then you actually learn how to become an attorney.
Yeah, there you go. And see, I think that's what I heard you say. It's like after you became an attorney, it's almost then like, okay, what kind of attorney do I want to be?
Right.
Then the discovery process of finding where you fit into that starts, doesn't it?
It does, because you can watch as much TV as you want to, and get inspired by Law and Order or whatever, but you really don't know what you want to do as an attorney until you get out there in the world and start handling cases and taking on clients. And
that led you to elder law. So tell us a little bit about elder law. What is elder law? And I'm sitting over here thinking, this is not as brown as it used to be. I might be in some area here where this would be of particular interest to me, and I know a lot of folks that watch our show may also find some of this interesting. So tell us a little bit about what you discovered and what you've learned about elder law.
Elder law is, everybody ages. Right,
sadly.
And we face risks as we age.
Right.
And the older we get, the more particular type of risks we face. And those risks are, payment for long-term care, financial exploitation, protecting your home, your hard-earned money and property, those types of things, right? From whether it's, the nursing home, the government, or from some type of process after someone passes away, like probate. We help people plan for those things to avoid those risks, to mitigate those risks, and to protect their hard-earned money and property.
Awesome. That's a very good answer. And it's one of those things that actually I do understand a little bit of this process. We went through some of this with my mom as she aged, and we got it. Right. And it was one of those things that I learned I was completely unprepared for. That was a process that that side of her aging and growing older, she's since passed, but we had to get an attorney involved because it got to be so complex. We're like, we don't know what we're doing. Right. And I know you run into that a lot, don't you?
Yeah, we do. And unfortunately, in this country, we've done a lot of great things. We are an amazing country, but we lack in a few aspects. And one of the things that we've lacked to do is to protect the folks as they age, and it has gotten to a point where the deck is stacked against us. The cost of long-term care, can range anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a month, and that's significant because 70% of individuals over 65 will need some type of long-term care. So that alone tells us that, hey, we have the majority of the population who's aging, right, running into this huge issue called "How Am I Going to Pay for My Care?" Right? And so one of the things that people don't realize until they get there is just how complex that can be to figure out.
So when someone comes in, where would you begin with them? I know that you've brought something with you today that you want to show us, and I think maybe that explains a little bit about some of the major things that people need to concentrate on starting out, don't they?
Right, and that's a very good question. So this is a book that I've written, and I wrote it because I wanted to give a simple framework for my clients and potential clients and anyone out there that wants to learn about this of what the priority is to protect yourself from these risks that I'm talking about. So this is the Elder Law Handbook, and it's 10 rules for protecting your assets and preserving a legacy. Okay, and it's funny that you asked me, where do we start? Because one of the first things in the book, one of the first rules is you got to lay a foundation. Any good building is built on a solid foundation, and what you need to do as an individual to protect yourself and your children, your property, is to make sure you have what we call foundational documents in place. So things like wills, powers of attorney, living wills, things like that, so that any other type of planning is built off of that very, very important foundation that you must have before you go forward.
Right. And so when someone comes to you, I guess that foundation is where you begin with them to make sure, and you help them see, do you have the parts of this foundation? And you really don't start building anything on top of that until you make sure that all that's in place.
That's exactly right. And not only do you have it, but does it work for you? Because these documents are incredibly important. They're not just cookie cutter things. They're things that need to be tailored, fit to you. They need to stand the test of time. You don't need to be relying on an attorney coming back every year, every month, or whatever to change the documents, to alter them, to make sure that you can do what you need to do for yourself or for your others, like your parents or grandparents.
Right. And then I know that probably changes depending on even where you live, like state to state, doesn't it?
Yeah, so if you've moved to North Carolina from another state, it's important to take a look at those documents that you already have to ensure that they comply with local law, or they anticipate things that we've adopted in this state rather than another state that you used to live in.
Okay. And then once you've got the foundation documents in place, where do you typically take someone after that?
Well, then we want to look at, okay, well, where are you at in the stage of your life? Are you just about to retire? Have you retired? Are you heading towards any type of need for care? How's your health? That sort of thing. So based on that, we want to either pre-plan to make sure we protect assets for the possibility of needing long-term care or qualifying for benefits to pay for long-term care. What a lot of people don't realize is that there's lots of benefits out there for people, and there's a lot of ways that you can qualify to get benefits to pay for long-term care with just a little bit of planning beforehand.
Mm-hmm. And that's when you bring someone in to start working through these steps. I know that would be like phase 1 and then phase 2. Is this something that has to be revisited every now and again, or is this something that your goal is to get it locked in place so that it's there and doesn't have to be revisited, so to speak?
That's a wonderful question. We spent a lot of time thinking about how to draft these documents that we create for our clients. So one of the goals with how we design a document to be drafted, whether it be a will, trust, power of attorney, is we want it to stand the test of time. So we want to anticipate any future contingencies so that it stands up. Now, one of the things we do for our clients is we offer a free consultation yearly. We call it an annual review, where they can come in and go over anything just in case something has changed where we do have to alter the plan. But the documents that they have are designed specifically to anticipate whatever could happen in the future. Now, we might have to add something or tweak something in the future, but that's something that we encourage our clients to come in and say, hey, let's work and collaborate and to make sure you're good to go, for the sake of the future.
Right. And the downside, if someone doesn't do this, could be some of the scary stuff that we could see with my mom coming up. She could lose her assets, she could lose her home, she could lose, things that my dad had left to her. If we hadn't taken steps,
right,
those things would have just frittered away, wouldn't they?
Right. Yeah. The downside is, number one, we always care about making sure that if someone needs long-term care, if someone needs to be taken care of, that they get the highest quality care possible, and that gets paid for. The other thing is, okay, how do we protect everything you worked hard your whole life for? You know, this
Right.
country is built on, you know, generations handing down wealth to other generations and making sure they have a leg up, right, for you know, time to come, right? So that's what's allowed this country to thrive, is we have this, you know, ability for parents and grandparents to work really hard and then to provide their children and grandchildren with opportunity.
Right. Now, I know that time always flies when we're doing these things. I know that you've wrote this wonderful book that probably would help guide
Right.
people through this process. Tell us where we can get that book, and all these people out there that are going, oh my gosh, I need this.
Absolutely.
Tell us how we can get this information and get this help.
So you can get it off Amazon. You can go by any of our locations, our office locations in Charlotte, Shelby, or Hendersonville, or you can get it off our website, which is mcelderlaw.com. There's a digital version and there's the print version. But you know, I encourage you to stop by our office. We'd love to see you, ask questions about the book, come get a physical copy. We'd be happy to give it to you.
Brent, we're so glad that you were on our show today. And
Yeah.
of course, we neglected to tell you this. If you ever come and sit on the couch, you have to come back.
Oh, absolutely. I
So
would love to.
it was in the fine print. But I'm sure you read that. You probably helped draft it. You're an attorney. But
Absolutely.
thank you really so much. And I thank you for being here and the passion that you have. And I'm glad that you found this niche, because it's one that is so vital and so needed in our society today. I know that it's a labor of love for you, but it's also a wonderful service to the community. So thank you.
Certainly. I'm glad to have both things working together, and thanks for having me.
All right, and thank you for being here for the first part of our show, but I'm not done with you yet. You can go out the refrigerator, but you have to come back, because there's more talk of the town right after this.